my thing. It is interview day time. So, are you ready? Are you ready? So, let me do our usual thing. First of all, this is PM Artist Studio. If you're new here, please do say hello in the chat so we can say hello back. Otherwise, we don't know that you're here. This is the day that P stays in the background, but she surely is here.
I'm here.
That's P over there.
With my earbud in.
This is M right here. And together, we are PM Artist Studio. So, I'll bring Ceri on here in just a minute, but do say hello in the chat so I can say hello back. I will make sure that I try to get through this really quickly so that way we can chat with Ceri as much as he would like to chat. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I'll have to move that around again. These cameras. Alrighty. Let's see. Announcements or anything like that. We're just going to kind of skip that business. But of course, if you are interested in becoming a member of the Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists Facebook group, that is the place you want to hang out and find out where all the swaps and all that awesome information is, going to be available in the chat, and it's always down below as well. If you are new, please do subscribe if I didn't ask you to do that. That is the number two way to support the channel. Number one way is watching our videos and liking them. So, thumbsy upsies, y'all. That's super, super duper important, especially here in the beginning, because we got quite the crowd, and we're going to be able to, hopefully, as Ceri wished, this might be our biggest one yet. So, that's super exciting and super fun. All right, let me say hello. All right, we've got Alice, Amanda, hello, I believe you do. Arkansas's Crazy Quilter, that's Dawn, Barbara, Becky, Brad's here. Candy, Kathy Daniels, Charmaine, Cookie Wookie, that's Mo, Darcy, Dawn. Dolores, hello. Eddie, Estella, Fran, Griffinshell, that's Rhonda. Let's see, we've got Hope Smith, Imelda. We know it, Imelda. Jeanette, aka Jeanette, Jennifer Scott, Joan, Julie, Kathy, Carrie, Kim, Lori, Lee, Linda, Lori, Paul, Lydia, Margie, Marguerite, Marcia, Markle, Ricky Nordmeyer, Robin, SSOS, Sandra, Serenity, that's Diana, Sherry Black Dogs Design, Star Traveler, that's Linda, Sue Conway, Sue Davis, Susan Billieu, Susan Carr, SWL, that's Sherry, Tammy, The Whole Bucket, that is Cheryl, Tracy, Trish, Veronica, and Wanda. If I missed you, do give me that pinky hello hand. If you want me to be sure to say hello, like Silver Granny there, that's Lynn. All right, but in the meantime, I'll go ahead and bring Ceri on. Let's turn his camera on. We're going to switch over to our guest cam. There's his beautiful face, and let's hear him talk.
Sorry, I thought that'd freak you out, wouldn't it? Hello, everyone.
You can talk now, Ceri.
Yeah, if you ever do an interview with Mariah, there's very strict rules involved. You must be centralized. You must speak when you're spoken to. She even questioned me about my dress code.
I did ask him yesterday what he was going to wear and if we should coordinate, but he said that was unnecessary. Miriam's here, Devin, Amanda, Miriam, let's see, Carla, Suzanne Rivard, Betty Drummond. All right, I think I've gotten everybody. I will try to make sure that I still say hellos as, we're going on here. But to start this all off with, I wanted to make sure there were some emails even and some other requests. People really wanted to know about your previous work history. But I decided, because I love our conversations that you and I tend to have, and I think that both audiences are going to enjoy that thoroughly. And just kind of a heads up, if you have not watched A Coffee with Ceri, you should. And that is really when he starts talking about and giving you more details on, his life before Ceri the Crafter, YouTube guy that you kind of know now. Maybe the more suave dancer Ceri, the cake maker Ceri, what else Ceri?
Oh, God knows everything. I have been a chameleon.
Yes, and you'll find out more of that type of information in those videos. In fact, I even snuck around. I found kind of 3 more recent ones that you talked about those different things over there, and then I listed those on the blog that we did whenever you did your bio. So that's over there on the PM Artist Studio website. And if you want to go to the very bottom, 3 of those are listed there if you want to just kind of get started with it. Then YouTube will probably start telling you all about Ceri the Crafter and Coffee with Ceri. Because it does
the trouble is, everyone says, "Oh, can you tell me about your life?" How do you fit 64 years into an hour video? So basically, I drop nuggets when I can drop them, basically, because there's a lot. I mean, you don't actually realize how much life you have experienced until you turn around and look backwards.
Yeah, and you're trying to tell a quick story. You're like, I'm going to tell a quick story. Never mind. It's not going to be quick because I got to in order for you to understand this, you need to understand this, this, and this.
Yeah,
that's how
you're right. It's a chain reaction. Everything is a chain reaction. People saying to me, "Oh, you should write a book, write a book." And it's funny because I would say probably 20 years ago, I started writing a book. I don't know it's hugely written, but it's the bare bones of it are there, but life keeps getting in the way. There's no way I have enough space in my life to write a book about my life. So I think what I've tended to do now is I'm sort of, as things come into my brain, I drop them into a video, whether it's while I'm working on something, whether it's a Coffee with Ceri, because you guys are genuinely interested. I like sharing my life, even just to relive the memories for myself. And then maybe those nuggets of things will build up into an entire life one day. I don't know. It's a big ask to write a book.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, even for us, like around here, just kind of the day-to-day. I think it's cool that, you know, with us having channels, it's kind of this in the life of, and you do get to kind of drop those little things in. And I think there's so much, especially like with Izzy growing up. I mean, we've talked about her loads on here, so there's always that kind of little bit, and hopefully she'll be able to come back and get more like in real time in a way of like
and also, as you're aware, on YouTube you can turn a video into a podcast. So every single Coffee with Ceri is also a podcast. Oh. So basically, it's the audio from the video, obviously. I've done double duty with the same thing, so it's a video.
Do you have to upload it twice?
No. Basically, what you do is, you know, when you're adding playlists, at the bottom it will say add playlist, or it actually, when you click on it, gives you podcast. So anything you do, I just treat it as another playlist, but it becomes a podcast instantly. So it goes into the podcast stream.
Well, and that works really well for your Ceri with Coffee, because
it does.
Coffee with Ceri, because of like you're not showing things. It's merely you talking. I don't know how we would do that, because there would be like, you know.
I mean, there have been moments when I've gone, "This is what I mean," and I'm like, "Oh shoot, it's a podcast."
That's not gonna work. You need to go over and watch the video.
Yeah, go see the video, guys. There you go. Sorry, okay. I've only had 4 hours sleep, so I'm caffeinating in a big way to keep going.
Yeah, I got a lot of caffeine in me too.
Seriously.
Yes. Okay, well, let's start out with a couple of like kind of our regular questions, and then I noticed somebody did ask. They wanted to know what you do with your journals, if you sell them. I'm assuming is what they're asking.
See all of those over there? There's 2 shelves of my journals there, and there's another shelf around the corner. I don't sell my journals. I do gift them. I do make them as surprise presents for people that I know who are maybe, let's put it this way, was it last year? It was last year. One of my friends I've known for like 40 odd years, probably a little more than that actually. Her mother passed away. And she was struggling, as we all do when something like that happens. So I made her a journal just to capture things. I said, use it as a scrapbook. Just put words down as things pop into your brain. I said, because you will never go through this again. You only lose one mother. Well, yeah, in my mind, you only lose one mother. And she loved the fact that when she was having a quiet moment, writing in her journal was almost like talking to her mother. And now that's now precious to her. So also I don't sell my journals because, please don't say Ceri. I don't feel they're good enough. And I know that's me and my perfectionism, my OCD.
He just rolled her eyes at you.
Yeah,
Did
I
you hear
know.
them?
I roll them right back to her. Um, I when I look at what the journaling community creates,
Yeah.
I do find a lot of that incredibly intimidating because for me, a journal is something that is basically an ornate notebook,
Yes.
whereas a lot of the journaling community have taken it to an absolute art form, and they are
Mm-hmm.
stunning, these things. But if I owned one of those, what would I do with it? I'd be scared of defiling the pages with my handwriting. So I tend to make writing journals
Yeah. No,
and
and,
art
and
journals,
I get
obviously.
that, and I really do get that because that's how I even started the Mariah Makes Monday thing was remember because let's see, I've had Darcy sent me a journal, and then the one that P worked on one too.
What from Maya?
No, it was not from Maya. Why am I blanking?
It's the pressure. It's the pressure.
It is because I was like, it was in my brain and then it left. Kiko.
Well, I'll sidetrack you and then come back to you.
Oh,
Um,
Kiko. Yeah,
it's
Kiko.
Kiko. Yes, of course you did. That beautiful
Yeah.
one with all the different
And-
layers
Oh,
and colors and
yes.
textures. It
And
was
let me
stunning.
tell you, the pressure of that was quite intense.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you feel like,
You're working on someone else's art.
yeah, but she meant it to be that way. Like she was creating a journal for somebody. Like there were space and areas, and Darcy did too. And then of course Julie Torrance sent me. She sent me two. I'm still currently sort of working on one. Need to get back to it. I don't know. Like there have been so many different things happening. It's like, and it's kind of nice to dip in and out of them. And I know you do that with your journals, right?
And I have to, because the thing is that I need to let things marinate.
Mm-hmm.
I may have an idea or a concept or I want to do it, but as YouTube influencers like we are, we're constantly feeling the pressure that we need to get creativity into little sound bites. And that's not the creative process, which is why I have things like my private art journal. And I've got my private collage journal, because the reason I do what I do is because I love doing it. It's good for my mental state. I absolutely go into this area, well, my studio, shut the door, the candles on. If I want music, there's music. It is my safe place. And I invite my subscribers in pretty much 90% of the time. But there are days when I just want to be in bunny slippers and curlers and actually go, I'm just going to create something for me. And that's what, and usually eventually when I've completed a journal or a collage or something, I will do a flip through or a share. But some of my art journal pages can take months to do because, as you said, with that journal, you do it, you go, okay, I'm not sure what the next step is. I put it to one side and I come back to it. And then it speaks to me because not only has the lighting changed, I've changed, my skill levels changed, just the emotion or the mood.
The right thing showed up. The right thing showed up in the mail.
Yeah, and I mean, and there are so many things that are part finished in here. And one of my biggest struggles has been as an artist is the need to finish. I'm like, got to get this done, got to get it finished. And I've learned over the last few years that it's okay for it not to be finished. Yeah, it's okay for it never to be finished because it's more enjoyable. It's more organic.
I struggle.
And it is.
Yeah,
it is a hard one, but and now I'm beginning to get the boxes as well. But it's the organic process of allowing art to steer you through its journey. That's how I view it. So there you go. It's like two of my favorite journals. I'm not saying that just because we're on screen now. Is I did a swap and make with Kirsten from something Queens. I can't. Oh, sorry, I'm so bad with names. Quirky Queens. Thank you. And I've kept that journal, and it's mine, and it's now where I'm playing with watercolors. Instead of just putting those bits of watercolor in an envelope or something, I am now building up a watercolor journal where I stick the little pieces of art to the page, because it's a way of documenting that journey. And as you said, with Paula, however you prefer to be called, Mrs. Keane, the one I made with her is absolutely glorious. I love it. In fact,
Yes.
it's one of the ones I don't want to write in because it's actually lovely.
Right.
And
Yeah, you make the pages too pretty and you're like, yeah, I can't write over that.
and I've
And you
got
just tell
horrible
things.
handwriting, absolutely horrible handwriting. When I was young, I mean, I can't prove this, but when I was young, I swear I should have been left-handed.
Mm.
And they made me right-handed because now I'm ambidextrous. I still eat left-handed. I can't eat right-handed. It's just
Oh.
alien to me. I can draw with both hands. I can write with both hands. I mean, I used to play squash. What was it in America? Racquetball is racquetball. You're in a court and you bounce a ball off a wall
Sure.
with a. Okay. Well, I used to play squash, and I used to really freak out my competitors because instead of doing a backhand, I just swap
Oh,
the racket to
switch.
the other hand and keep playing. I
They're
used to
like,
just. I won quite a few matches that way. I can assure you. But
uh-huh.
yeah, I think they forced me to be right-handed, and then when I went through the educational system, because I was always scared of missing something in a lecture, I would write it in full hand at speed. So I would
Mm-hmm.
capture the whole lecture, but it ruined my handwriting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of my cake friends always laugh at me because if you saw an inscription on a cake that I piped, it is immaculate. And it's because I'm
Oh.
forced to analyze it letter by letter,
Right.
stroke by stroke,
Yep.
space by space. You can't speed it. Well, I can't speed it up. So, yeah. But yeah, my handwriting's appalling, and actually
Well,
putting
hey,
it down has been a big barrier for me.
I think this is a good little lead into speaking of if you don't want to write things, you have something to talk about,
Yeah,
don't you? Don't you want
yeah.
to tell people that there's a new thing over there on PM Artist Studio
Oh,
that they can
not that already.
purchase?
I am so shy. No, joking. Yes, I do actually. This is a really good time to do this. Thank you. Would have completely escaped my mind. Um, as you all know, I have an Etsy store, which has lain without new products for over 2 years because for me, I have found Etsy is it's an arduous process to
Mm-hmm.
post, upload, maintain, and
Yes.
it got to the point where I could lose an entire day just doing one product, and I went, it's not happening, guys. Um, and then knowing that PM Artist Studio has their version of digitals called printables, I thought, you know what, I'm going to dip my toe in the water and start doing some. So today, well, I think it probably got launched last night, to be honest, if I know
Yes.
Mariah. There you go. Um, what I've done is I've created a printable that's aimed at journal makers or even card makers, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Um, it's been something I've been working on for probably over a year. And when you look at it, you're going to go, a year? That's the way I did it. I wanted to create 100 definitions that are of my own unique making. So I chose 100 words and then I wrote as if it was like a dictionary entry. So you've got the word, then the definition of what it
Mm-hmm.
would be underneath it. And I probably wrote them within about the first month. And then every month I'd go back and tweak and play and tweak and play and tweak and play until I'd still be tweaking and playing, to be honest, if I hadn't put it in the planner. And those 100 definitions, I've done them in three different formats. So you have a white page, well, you've got 3.5 white pages with each of the 100 definitions written in old typewriter font. I've kept them reasonably small because we know they're going into a journal as ephemera. Um, I've left them quite well spaced. You can cut them on a trimmer or a guillotine because I've lined them up in such a way there is a space so you don't have to fussy cut. You can do a quick cut. Um, I've left enough space you can doodle around them, you can do whatever you want. Then the second batch, which is the same 100 definitions, I've actually put them on a coffee dyed panel behind each one of them because I know not everyone has coffee dyed paper. So what I did is I scanned a piece of coffee dyed paper, sampled the color, put it into the background. Again, I've left a large enough space. So if you've got a label border stamp, maybe you stamp around it, you could doodle, you could stamp edges to actually give yourself, say you've got a foliage stamp, cut out the rectangle and stamp each of the edges so you've got the little leaves coming in round the corners. Use your inks to change it. And then I took the same ones and then put them in another font and increase them so that they could actually be for something like a bigger journal card, or even, I mean, I just made my friend's birthday card and I've actually put that as the sentiment on the inside of it. So,
Nice.
and then because there was space and because quite a few of you were asking for them, I did something called wise words, which are literally words relating to what we do, like glue, craft, create, journal. I mean, I think it's 44 of them. They're basically just words on a page. Now, the ones on the blank page, you can actually print that on any color background you want. So I was trying to give something useful yet unique. And the only place to get it is actually going to be PM Artist Studio. So if you want it, you have to go to PM Artist Studio for it. It's not going to be anywhere else.
I love it.
And just a sneaky heads up, if my creative juices keep going, there will be another printable from me more on the artistic side in the next couple of months. I'm being a bit cautious about launching it because, again, it's taking a heck of a lot to do this. A lot of it will be including my gel prints, my doodling. It's something I really love, and I can't wait to do it so I can actually use it. So it's about a third way through, but life gets in the way, guys. Life gets in the way. So there you go. So Mariah will drop a link in.
It's okay. Brad calls me that sometimes. He does to mess with me.
Maria with a H.
All right. So do you like using printables? Let's kind of bring this. I'm going to round this into one of the questions that we usually ask, which are kind of like, what are some of your go-to mediums or materials? Because that's kind of the thing, even like with a lot of, and you've really kind of bridged both areas from papercraft to mixed media, which not everybody does and not everybody is totally comfortable with. But you have done it really nicely. So where are your favorites maybe in both little worlds of the arty crafty Ceri?
I use digitals or printables occasionally. I have nothing against using digitals or printables. They are a great resource of images I may never ever find. However, I have a little bit of a stumbling block with digitals because if I print them on my printer, the inks, because it's an inkjet, are transient. They can move. And over time, if I drop a bit of water on it or my glue goes awry and I try rubbing it off there, I have a problem. Now, there are some digitals I absolutely love, like goodness knows the amount of Tracy Fox labels I've used in my life. I could probably wallpaper the house with them. And there are occasions when a digital will come across my path and I'm like, I've got to make that into a digital, into something. Like I recently did a boho journal using Rachel Bella Craft's digitals, and I couldn't decorate the pages. They were too beautiful. So I left them that way. And I've got one coming up this month from Christy, I think it's someone else. I'll introduce her to you. And again, she's got one that's based on wallpapers and upholstery. And I seem to go down the wallpaper route quite a lot. And I don't know whether that's an age thing. I like wallpaper patterns.
Oh, we do too. And that's funny that you say that because when P and I were creating many of the well, not many. I mean, we have a handful of printables, and then it was like it took us forever, and it's
it's hard. It's hard work.
It's hard work, but we would always say, "Oh God, that would make some fabulous wallpaper," or "Oh, I would love that fabric because we could redo the couch or whatever." So I think that is something I think a lot of us are probably drawn to. Oh, did I lose you, Ceri? He dropped off there. We'll see if he comes back in.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he did. Let me get him back in. There we go. All right, there he is.
There's nothing like shutting me up by turning me off, is there?
Well, I guess Streamlabs decided that you needed just a little timeout moment.
So back to your initial question. So I have no objection to digitals, although I'm very much, and I think this is part of the journey with you guys as well. I like to create art using stuff that I have created so that I know I cannot possibly fall foul of copyright.
Yes.
I own other stencils, I own other stamps, I own other products, but oh, itchy nose today. I think it's the sun's been out and all the pollen's kicking in.
Yes.
I have this thing about creating things that are uniquely mine, and I don't know whether that's sort of a controlling thing of mine or not, I don't know, but so I tend to make things that will do the thing I want. As far as what my favorites are, I mean, I'm probably like a lot of the subscribers and possibly people in the chat, because I've talked to some of you guys. I get bored incredibly easily. I have to have so many different things on the go. And that's why I think my channel is quite diverse in what I do. And the levels at which I do it at will determine how much I've been doing it. And I like the fact that a lot of my videos are aimed at the absolute beginner. Because to me, as we progress as artists, we forget that actually there's a new person every single video, at least one watching who's never seen that art form before. And I like going back, because not only does it help and support that person, it reminds me of skills that I sometimes have forgotten in my journey going forward.
Yeah.
So as far as
quick question about your digitals, because it came up in chat. Do Ceri's arty stencil masks work with the new Digi? So do you, the masks that, have you tried that? I figured that.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Well, video coming soon, y'all.
Oh, that's a. Oh. See, now you put another thought in my brain. I'm like, oh my God, do they fit?
Do they fit? I think that they will. Here's the thing: if you
there's probably an option that does.
Yeah, well, and here's the deal. I think that if you kind of know, and a lot of you that do use printables or digitals often know how to kind of alter things and adjust size. So you would be able to probably, if it did need a little tweaking, to fit into those however you would like. I'm sure that that could happen. And maybe I can.
Well, it's a PDF. It's not JPEGs. It's a PDF. And even I know that you can select and copy and paste out of the PDF. So if you've got some basic software, you could. I mean, to be honest with you, I designed the arty label stencil without actually thinking about the printed one, because my mindset was it was supposed to be used for a gel plate. And then I explored other avenues.
So I didn't kind of two different worlds.
Yeah, and I didn't sort of missed the boat on that one. I should have clocked into that and checked that things fitted.
It'll probably be an accidental, like happy accident, it's kind of, whatever thing, because, what was it? Oh, when I did the leaves, and remember you were like, did you make it like ATC size? And I'm like, maybe. And it turned out that I did.
So, as far as favorite techniques go, I like creating journals. I like creating ephemera. I love working on my gel press, and I really do love working on my gel press. And I like trying to explore how many things I can do with it and how many things I can do with the stuff I've done on it, because so many of us do the 100 prints in one go because we get really enthusiastic and they sit in a drawer. I'm like, that's not where my art is going to stay. Yeah. And very often, actually, let's pull in the journal again. Okay, let's see if I can find a page. So I will actually print my gel press stuff. Why can't I find a page? I can always find this one. And then what I'll do is I'll use them in my art journal. So, okay, that's tribal wallpaper.
Oh, that looks fabulous.
So that's the start of one. Where's the other one I wanted to show you? Because that one may be something that people don't normally do. Come on. So there you go. A gel print, and I just put it through my die cutting machine.
Oh, very nice.
So that gave me patches. So things like this art journal just grows. I flip it open and I work on a page when something grabs me, or if I've created something on tissue paper, whether it's gift wrap or carnival, and I really love that bit of tissue paper, I will pull that journal out and I'll go through to find a page for it to go on, because I don't want it to end up in a box. I don't want it to be in the
Yeah.
drawer and never seen again. As you all know, I cover my boxes and my containers with them. I cover journals with them. I collage with them. I love doing them. I think acrylic paint is probably the medium I'm most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Acrylic inks and inks are probably my least favorite. And I think, again, it's the control thing.
Yeah.
I love the thought of having art with drippy bits and that, but the drippy bits don't stop dripping, and
Right.
I can't control them, and I don't know what
Yeah.
they do, and I don't
You're like, clean up on aisle 5, stat.
seriously. And I like doing things that may have happenstance or be beautiful by accident rather
Right.
than design. However, because my understanding of substrates and papers and card is probably not as extensive as it should be, sometimes I try a technique on a surface it wasn't meant to be, and I end up with this gooey mess going, well, that was a waste of everything, wasn't it? But sometimes it comes out perfect.
Yeah.
So I do jump around. I mean, as you know, I do cake. I make clay flowers.
Well, actually, okay, so that kind of goes
oh.
into a question here in chat. 1 second here. So,
Go for it.
Alice asked about, have you tried using your cake decorating skills like piping medium, joint compound, spackle paste to create 3D mixed media art? And yes, he has, because if you go back and watch those masks one, especially the last one, you did a lot of like kind of clay work and sculpting.
Yeah, which is exactly what I used to do with sugar. And vice versa, however, I have created cakes for, I did a launch on a TV show. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it was. It was a launch of something on a TV show anyway. And I made a wedding cake based on mixed media skills. So I actually used stencils and textures and splattering and that.
Yeah.
And I did it all with edible mediums, however.
We had somebody order. It was funny because I think their client ordered stencils from us. Then the cake maker reached out to us and said, "Hey, these are great and all, not really the right size and not really exactly what we're going to be able to work with." So then we worked with the cake maker and then remade the stencil to then be usable for the cake and the size and everything, because I guess as a client probably doesn't that's sometimes a hard thing, and I'm sure that you even actually I know that you have kind of had moments with designing stencils and understanding what the end size, because seeing something digitally and then okay, this thing is actually going to be made in the world in a 3-dimensional object, even though it is a flat thing, becomes a dimensional object, and that's very tricky.
It is, and that's why I only design in black and white for stencils, because in my mind, black is a whole, white is a solid, and that's the only way. It's the only way I can do it. And then when I do a foam stamp, the black is the solid and the white is the whole. And that's the only way I've been able to get it. And then joining the dots is another thing. I know that in a stamp, I don't need to worry about connectors. In stencils, I always think if I roll a brayer of paint over this, what's going to lift up, pull, flip, and stick under something else? Yep. And knowing the use makes it incredibly easy to design the product. But always remember the potential use for it, because everything we create can be taken by another artist and used for something we've never even considered using it for.
Oh,
and
yes,
I have been constantly be surprised by some of the people out there who have actually taken products, whether it's stencils, masks, stamps, or even when I did the silicone molds for the cake industry, and that one person in America bought all of my silicone molds and they used them for clay because they made ornate pots for gardens, and they used all of the pieces I'd done to make them out of clay, attach them with slip, and then bake the pots. And I was like, what? You can do that? So things just go in a different, you just no idea where it's going. No idea. You put it out in the world and it's fabulous to see someone else does with it.
We've actually, yeah, and there have been, I know, especially like with the Etsy, I think a lot of people that end up on our website or, found us through YouTube or whatever. And so for the most part, they're mixed media artists, gel printers, that sort of thing. But it's funny, over on Etsy, people just find you. And so they're doing different things than like what the particular, and we get a lot of interesting questions.
Are they from Eddie?
No, if we could ever figure out, a massive cricket, I think we could really, there might be a market for some very, very large stencils, but also then we would have to figure out how to get very large pieces of Yupo, because people ask about that, like, how big can you make it? And it's like, well,
I think you are possibly too young, but Patricia and I are the right generation. There was a time, and I remember doing it in my house, where you stenciled your walls. I remember stenciling a border around the walls. I remember stenciling things onto cupboard doors. I remember we put seahorses into the bathroom on the walls. It was back then you stenciled things. You were there with a sponge and you sponged it on the wall. Probably the start of my mixed media back then, to be honest. But yeah, so there is, yeah.
So I think it was yesterday, and we were starting to talk about photography.
Yes.
And I want to have that discussion with you because I also have it wasn't like pretty photography. It was like, for construction and tools.
I've got that. I've got a whole load of rust and God knows what, yes.
But the knowledge that you gain, I think, and I would always suggest for somebody, even if you are just playing around, photographing and printing photographs will really help you, I think, in all aspects of your art.
Absolutely. I mean, I did do a night class, good grief, probably about 16, 17 years ago, to actually take black and white photographs and then produce them in a dark room, and then ended up in an exhibition, a small one only for the students who did the course, because I wanted to understand contrast and its power as a tool for a visual aid, which is why I wanted to do the black and white course. And I've always fancied doing a bit of alchemy and all of that. I've taken photographs, good grief. I can remember when I was young, I must have been about 7 or 8 years old, and we were coming back to Britain, and I'd been given a tiny little Kodak camera as a present. And my mum would always say that never left my side. Aww. The fortune I might have cost them, because I was constantly getting film developed, and it was random stuff, but
my dad was one of those photographers. Yeah. I have his albums of, now his first degree was in botany. So he, and he owned a greenhouse, but he has albums full of pictures of plants.
I have thousands, because I used to take transparencies or slide photography.
I have those
because it captured color and light more realistically than it did going via the development print process.
Yep.
And that, I loved that. But I think if you start looking at the world through a viewfinder that constrains your vision to that rectangle and eliminates everything else around it, you suddenly become a lot more observant of what is in and what is not in the shot.
Right.
And also just using basic rules like the rule of thirds, the golden rule. These are things I'm not going to start explaining, except that they're basically a crosshatch of lines, and you don't ever put something in the center, you put it on the junctions, about weighting the sky versus the base, where to put the horizon.
Don't have poles coming out of people's heads.
Yeah, all of those things. And I think a lot of that has actually played into everything I do nowadays, because everyone goes, oh, you do really naturally where composition is. Well, look at it. That's the shape you see through a camera viewfinder.
Yeah.
So for almost my entire life, I've looked at things in rectangle in either landscape or portrait. And then look at my dance career. When you're on the stage, guess what?
Yep.
It's a rectangle, unless you're in the round, of course. So every visual stimulation I've had has been through that format. And as you know, because you follow me on Facebook, I go to art galleries. I visit my museum regularly to look at the old masters and stuff like that. Guess what? Rectangles most of the time. And I go to look at some of the artwork on a regular basis, not because I would ever be able to emulate it or even want to, but I find looking at, say, the Mona Lisa or the Lady in Blue or, oh, good grief, and any of Turner, any of that, sometimes it's not the image that attracts me, it's the color combination or the textures or just a tiny little section of the picture, which at a glance you would have probably missed. But there's this juicy tiny little bit. I'm like, oh, I like that bit there. And my biggest friend is my phone. I mean, my phone is where I capture a lot of my inspiration because the brain ain't capturing and holding anything anymore.
Right.
So I will literally, and I'm quite lucky, my galleries and museums here in Britain allow me to take photographs and footage inside.
Yeah.
If there's a picture, like I know there's a Picasso at the moment at the museum, you are not allowed to photograph. Don't ask me why that one picture is special. I respect that. But I will always find something. And it's like, that's another reason I like looking at abstract art. I like art that makes me question it. It's not just 3 blocks and a squiggly line and a bit of sponge in the corner. It is something to somebody and trying to be a detective and find out what it is. But then I will never know unless I'm stood next to the artist to have them explain to me. I have to delve into what journey do I have with that. And I find abstract art, although I don't think I'm incredibly good at it because I'm too controlling. I'm on this journey at the moment to try and free up the way I create, because there is a certain joy to just being a child again and splashing paint and colors and getting messy and going, look, I've made something.
Yeah,
I'm getting there.
In the last 2 years, from watching you, I know that there have been leaps and bounds of just being able to, release
and
some
not
of that.
I mean, finishing up the museum thing. So I will always look at the museum probably about 4 to 6 weeks. I go, and even if I look at existing things like statues, the things that change throughout the museum, even if I've seen a picture 100 times, I'll still look at the picture because it depends on the light or the day I'm in. But if we go to my journey for, as you say, my art has been loosening up and developing, I think a lot of that is very much down to influences like Eddie and Darcy and other channels who literally, like Fran. I mean, good God, Fran. I think sometimes Fran needs to lay off the coffee, but do you know what I mean? It's a case of their willingness to actually experiment and make a mess and make a fool of themselves if they need to. That journey is incredibly interesting because I am, by nature, OCD, controlling, a perfectionist. All of those things I battle, but they take away the joy of just free creativity. It's like, I mean, I've seen P doing it. P pulls up the print and goes, oh, look at that. And it's that joy of the excitement of the unknown. And I mean, I know I laugh at Darcy for being a chaotic crafter. However, what everyone's like, I mean, I could name most of the people on your stream and I watch their videos, even though half the time you only know because I've just put a heart. I've got enough comments to deal with that while writing some of my own. And there's always something that I find. Like Darcy's abandon at creativity fascinates me. I can never be a Darcy. I'm probably too tall. I haven't got enough hair. However, I could never become a Darcy. But what Darcy has done has inspired me to go, it's okay to do that. Yeah. And watching the fascinating journey Eddie has gone from not having a gel plate to where he is now, I'm like, oh my goodness, look at you grow. I love watching people develop. I just love that journey everyone's on and to see their confidence build and and to hear it in their voice too. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of being hesitant, they're like, "Oh, just stick that on the bloody thing. It's going to work or it's not. Let's just
Yeah.
cover it up with gesso and do it again." That's amazing to me. And
She left.
I think that's one of the things I absolutely love about where I am now with my YouTube channel, because
Mm-hmm.
my channel just went past 80,000 subscribers,
God.
which for me is mind blowing. I'm like, good God, mind blowing. My target is 100,000 by Christmas. You have to have a goal or you never get anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stand still, you become stagnant and putrid. No, you need to move.
Yep.
But what that's done for me is having that reach means that I can put people in front of 80,000 people who may never discover them because of YouTube's algorithm or because of Facebook's algorithm or Instagram's algorithm. And I love that because it's the way I can potentially give back for the gift of inspiration that they've all given me
Yeah.
and continually give me. And I love it, absolutely love it. I don't watch television very often. There's very few programs.
Nor do I.
Like there's one called The Pottery Throwdown. There's one called The Sewing Bee, and Glow Up. I watched Glow Up because I wanted to be a makeup artist years ago, and I never did it. I looked at the market and went, "That's too saturated. It's too late.
And
I ain't going there."
way mean too. I think that
Yeah.
like anybody that talks about the whole cosmetic industry and any of it is just it seems like a very harsh environment to be in.
Well, for a little while when I was in dance college, I actually made money to help me get through college as a model. You wouldn't believe it nowadays. But the look I had back then, which was pretty much anorexic with a shaved head, and so that was what the school dictated, the dance school I was in,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very much in vogue, that look in the modeling industry. And I did some catwalk stuff, I did some photography stuff. However, you want to talk about a vicious world? Oh my
yeah.
God, don't get into the modeling world. Oh, those people are up there not because they were nice on the way up, I can tell you.
Right.
So yeah, that was a journey I never intended taking or wanted to be. I was never that vain. I never wanted to be anything, but you are literally a clothes horse selling the clothes.
Yeah.
You're a hanger that walks on stage. And once you get that in your brain, no wonder they look miserable half the time.
Yeah.
So,
And they just want to eat a
there you
piece
go.
of cake.
Yes, just part of it. Please eat something. So, mind you, saying that, I am very pleased to see that the culture of anorexic looking models has changed. There are now some fuller figure, beautiful male and female models out there. Hopefully one day we will get to what real people look like.
Yeah.
Because I think the imagery that the celebrity culture puts out there and the publishing world puts out there is probably the cause of so many problems we have socially, mindfully. I mean, we have children here who are probably 14 or 15 years old. They look like a 25-year-old. They've already had Botox. They've already had extensions and fillers. And I'm like, what happened to your childhood? Good grief.
Yeah,
and
it is
they're all
crazy.
spray tanned. And I'm like, okay, you look now like you came off the cover of a magazine. But what happens to that poor person you meet one day, fall in love with them, they wake up with you next morning going, oh, well, that's a surprise. All the bits came off. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. I apologize.
That's okay. That's funny. Okay, so I wanted to say that when you came, or how, because I love our story that, you know, how we met in a way. But Ceri started selling on PM Artist Studios website basically September. Let me look at the date. I think it was September 29th.
Yeah, we're about at 18 months now, I think.
Yeah, of 2022, which seems so crazy. So crazy, right?
I must admit, I did open my gob and actually make a promise that I would launch a product per month, which I have done every single month. I don't know whether in 2024 I may notch that back slightly, for no other reason than first of all, we're inundating P with stuff every month. How P
Yeah.
copes with the amount of new designs, and also I want to let my designs marinate a bit more in my brain before I
Yeah.
release them. So maybe in 2020, what we are now, 2025,
It'll
I
be here
might
before we know it.
no, don't go there. I might do every other month,
Yeah.
and then maybe drop a printable in the middle of it or something like
Yes.
that. So it'll be physical, digital, physical, digital. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's over a year away, and I'm not sure what the journey will be then. Also, because of the stable of designers you have quite a unique base of eclectic designs. And when you look at, or when someone looks at each of the designers and the style they are, it's really invigorating to see so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think we've almost fallen into our own self-created niche in each of them. I mean,
Yep.
you will know it more than anyone because you sign off every single design. But we have Paula who does the quirky. We have me who does almost always geometric or repeated.
Yes.
Eddie's just dipping his toe. Eddie, you need to dip
He
more
is.
than the toe
But
because
he
you're a
is-
talented
he-
lad. You can get more out there.
His style is emerging, and he has submitted more things, but he's also like trying to get into the groove of designing, just in itself.
Yeah.
Like understanding, hey, because we'll have to send it back to him and go, hey, the stuff's gonna fall out. You need to connect some things.
Yeah.
It's not connected right now, but he's getting there. And then and Darcy's our swirly whirly, anything that's kind of got that whimsy stuff to it. But it is funny that typically we can recognize whose designs kind of
Yeah.
are whose, which is
I mean,
awesome.
now that you've got the new machine, I want to actually go back to designing some new stamps now because I've
That
got
is
things in my
nice.
mind and I pulled back on it because obviously the workload for stamps and manufacturing was obviously becoming a problem. I went, let's pull back from stamps, but I want to go back to stamps.
Just now, it is still a little tricky with us trying to figure out, and you're always very helpful. I want everybody to know that not only does Ceri design things for us, but he has implemented, even the process that we utilize with the other designers pretty much came from you. Because I was like, I love how Ceri structures his folders. I like how this is done. This works. Let's make, that's kind of the standard for everybody because it really was helping with the whole process. Because, it's just like we were talking about the whole Adam Savage thing and that whole refining your process. And it really is. And Ceri, like with your knowledge of just not only art knowledge, but business knowledge and being able to put products out and all that, we do take that very seriously and it's helped us immensely.
A lot of it is just the way my brain is wired. Like I know I get slightly envious jibes at me for how neat and tidy my studio always is. I don't do that on purpose. Literally, when I look down at my hands at the end of filming a video, I'm like, oh, someone cleaned up. I don't even realize I do it.
Yeah.
It just happens. It's like I will come in.
I keep telling her if she can train herself slightly. It is one of those things. It's that whole clean up as you go sort of deal. And if you
but then
autopilot.
in saying that, I think we were saying last night or yesterday when we did the tester, I think you should embrace the style you are comfortable with. Like I think if you transplanted Darcy to my studio, she would probably be intimidated and less creative. If you put me into Darcy's situation, I'd be overwhelmed and shut down. And I think you need to create in what is comfortable for you. Some creators, having chaos around them is almost like a comfort blanket because they know that everything is within reach, that there's something that's not going to be left alone. For me, space is a priority. I don't want to feel cluttered. I don't want my personal space impeded upon by supplies. So when I prep for video, I have probably one of the handiest tools I've got is I've got a collapsible 6-foot table. and I pull it out. I open it up next to my creative space, and I lay things out in order that I'm going to use them for the video. Now,
See, I have one of those.
Oh, here's the thing. We put up a collapsible table. It's still up, and now it's covered in things. And there's no such thing as
Here's
a
my foam board.
temporary. Her foam board has become temporary, and mainly that's because she's locked in otherwise. So she has to be able to move it. So maybe that's the key, is that it's something like that, you know, it locks her into a room, and she has to clean it off before she leaves the room.
Basically, it is, and I want to make sure that I go to the bathroom before I lock in my phone. It takes me 15 minutes to unload it.
This is all true.
And I just want to put this out here so that no one thinks that I'm being that structured. I will lay out on my 6-foot table the steps in order I'm going to do them. 90% of the time, by the time I reach step 3, I've abandoned the table and I've just become creative.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
But
you need that structure
I need
to start.
the structure to start with. My mind needs to know roughly the journey and the goal. Although, as P always says, be prepared to modify. There probably is nothing I create that ended up the way I was expecting it to. Oh, yeah. And there's a joy in that as well. And I find if I plan stuff so methodically, it kills my creativity. Like when I was doing the Shopping Channel TV demonstrations, it was horrible because I would have to submit my dem plans. I do 3 in a 1-hour show. Each dem would have to have listed every single bit of equipment, where it would be on the desk, all of the order in which I would work, and I'd have to have to the second how long it would take me to do each stage. You
That's
literally became a robot. It is horrible. And then when you're live, I had something called Talkback. Talkback is like an earbud, but it links you to what's called the gallery. So even though I'm on live TV, doing this, demonstrating, in my earbud, I'm hearing the director going, can we go to this shot? Can you pull in this product? It's selling really well. Can you cut that and go over there? So your brain is trying, and I think that's part of the reason why I don't struggle a lot of the time with having verbal as well as working with my hands, because I've always had to be thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. The mouth is on autopilot. The brain is already thinking about the next thing. And I'm looking around with my eyes going, that needs to come in next. And I think it was a TV thing. And it really honed my skills as a demonstrator to hopefully say what is relevant at the time that I'm doing it, and not refer to something that I haven't done in the past or have done in the future. It's a weird setup. It really is. But back to the foam stamp thing. What I want to do, and I'm glad you mentioned it earlier because it's one of my plans, is my favorite style of photography was always macro photography, going in really close, getting detail. I like other photography, but I was always fascinated by macro. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going through my back catalogue of photographs and pull rubber stamp foam stamp designs out of the details generated from the macro designs.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? That's so funny because your very first stencil was created from the bark.
Yeah, which was a photograph.
Yeah. So that's
literally.
Nice.
I was in Bracknell, London. I was walking my friend's dog, and I looked over, and there was this tree, and the bark was just fascinating. And I went, okay, wait a minute, Henry, you're staying here a second. And I must have taken 20 pictures close up of all of this bark because there was something there. It was attached to the tree, P. I'm sorry, I'm not going to rip blood off the tree. But
I have a piece of cactus in my drawing caboodle thing.
Yeah.
That it's just the structure. It's not it's what holds the cactus together, but it had died off, and this was what was left, and that was one of the inspirations for that first stencil.
Yeah.
So
okay, bear with me because I'm gonna move. I need to go and get something.
He's gonna show us some of his things that he brought home.
Not so much brought home.
Oh, okay.
Last year, I love poppies. Am I centered, Mariah? Am I acceptable?
You're good. Yes.
That's fine. um, I have poppies growing in the garden, and I've got a couple of Icelandic poppies, the really big ones, and they were growing and they were in the corner of my garden. And of course, they bloom, they turn their seed pods in, and I'd kind of forgotten it was there. And it was only the autumn time did I come across them, and this had happened to them. Where am I?
Oh.
All of the flesh of them had come off, and they're just like a skeleton. And I'm like, I'm not letting Mother Nature destroy that. So it's here. They're stunning.
Oh,
And
I
they're
love
I'm sorry, it's probably not the best way to show you.
Oh,
But they're oh, actually my shirt's probably a good thing to do. There. But they're absolutely beautiful.
oh,
And
they
the things, I mean,
are.
I've got a whole box full of feathers. I always pick up feathers. There's something
I
about
love
feathers in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I painted with them. I painted on them before now.
Yes.
I like using them as mark making tools on a gel press, although I probably haven't shared that, but the gentle sweeping motion of a feather as it does its own contours,
Yes.
half the time the feather is ruined and has to go in the trash afterwards. But you know what? We've got loads of birds around here. I mean, there's always feathers.
Yeah.
And they do give you such a gentle mark. I've tried using them as a paintbrush unsuccessfully, but that's probably because I'm too controlling with it, or the medium I was painting with was it wasn't fluid enough, which thinking about it, I should have tried fluid.
Yes.
I might try and experiment with watercolors using a feather, because it was only when I was watching P last week painting, I can't remember the name, that Japanese brush.
The dagger
What's
brush.
that? Yes.
Or the
Seeing
ciliate
that I went,
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought, you know what? I could get a very similar effect by using a feather dipped in ink.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it's one of those, it's a bit of a curse and a blessing at the same time. I have one of these imaginations that never stops. It just doesn't stop. And I love it. And I know it's such a blessing. I mean, I've got composition notebooks just full of ideas for videos. I will never run out of video content, I can tell you. But unless I get it out of my brain and onto a page, my brain just chips and chips and chips and chips and chips. Probably why I don't sleep very well, because I'll lay in bed going, what if I change this color? What if I did that? Oh, wonder whether that will do that. And before I know it's dawn, and I'm like, oh, that's another night I've lost then. But I mean, it's fabulous. I never take for granted the gift that I've been given, and I try to make the most of it that I can, because it's pretty much the gift that I always had this thing that I've wanted to leave something when I go. We're all going to go one day. And I've always thought, I'd love to leave something of me for future generations. Now, granted, I now have at least 5 books out there on cake decorating and stuff like that. So I've been preserved, let's put it that way. But I also am aware that YouTube and this media is probably going to change, probably in the foreseeable future, maybe the next 20, 25 years. Video will become something else. Now, what it works, I don't know, or else I'd be Apple, wouldn't I? But I think it's going to turn into something where
you would be wearing a turtleneck on a stage.
Possibly, and the Porsches outside. I don't know whether technology will be developed in such a way that, and granted, I'm way off the spectrum on fantasy here, maybe there will be this little camera that is actually a drone that always flies above your head, and it locates to something you've got pinned on you. So everything you look at, or every angle you're at, that technology mirrors your eyes.
Yeah.
And to be able to capture that, granted, you be really careful where you look, but I mean, technology is amazing. I mean, within my lifespan, I remember the first color TV. I remember the first mobile phone. There were no computers when I went through college, through school. I remember the first man on the moon. And I'm only 64 years old, and there's been a hell of a lot more than that. The first plasma screen TV. It's just so many things. It's like, and the rate at which we're developing.
Yeah, I often feel quite lucky that, we're, me, Eddie, Darcy, I'm sure there's some others, but them I know for sure are of my age, which we are in that little fine that we remember analog and then moved to digital. Like we were in that little space of time that, as we were growing up, we still had access to, like rotary phones and, black and white TVs. I can remember that in Norwood, and there being aluminum foil on the
antenna, the rabbit ears. Yeah.
Yeah, which it still really didn't work, but my father was convinced that that was making things better.
It's like I remember our very first TV because we didn't have money as kids. We just didn't. And I remember my mother and my father then, that's a whole nother story. They wanted us to see the landing on the moon. So they hired a television, little small black and white thing. And to make it work, you had to put coins in the back. So the thing was, if you ran out of coins, the TV shut off. So you didn't actually rent the TV. The TV man would come and collect the coins from the back of the TV periodically. So you had to crazy save. I think they were the old pennies actually back then, and you had to keep threading them in for the TV to keep working.
And I'm sure as a kid you were the one standing there having to put the coins in.
Oh, I loved it. I was like, oh, we got another point in. But yes, so that was my memory of landing on the moon. It's have we got enough coins to get to the moon?
Well, and I can remember those first TVs didn't have a remote, so somebody had to get up to turn the channel.
Oh, God forbid they should be fitter.
Yeah. So, it was always the kids. Like, it's your, whose turn is it? Turn the dial.
Technology is getting to me now because I was in the Apple store the other day because my MacBook Pro is about 10 years old. The hamster's died, the elastic band has snapped, and now it's a pedal I keep pushing on the underneath. And I've kept it going because it is such a huge investment of money to buy a new one. But I've got to the point where my business is now beginning to suffer because my computer is slower than it needs to be. So this year I have to bite the bullet and get a new MacBook because 90% of the stuff I do now is photograph editing, video processing, creating digitals, managing a website. There's just so much. I need a better computer. I was in there and the guy just looked at me as if I'd arrived from another planet because I do 90% of my stuff on my iPad, and I'm stood there talking to me. He's like, oh, this is a bit, because I don't know technology. I have to trust the sales assistant to help me select which one of them is the best suited for what I do. So I go in, explain everything I do, and they help me. And there I am. I'm tapping the screen of the Apple laptop going, but why doesn't this work? And he's like, it's a mouse control. And I'm so used to touch technology now that I don't get it when it doesn't work. I'm like, why? Why don't you work?
It's like, this. They do have some of those types of computers, but I find them to be. But that was also, years ago. Maybe that they have gotten some of it. I don't know if Apple does that, like with their laptops. If they have the touch screen.
And I basically don't want to. It's like I don't actually like the pad that you touch. I like a mouse. And there was a time when I actually had a pen that was like a mouse, but it got on my nerves in the end. I went back to a mouse. I like a physical mouse I can move, and I have no problem with seeing it on the screen and actually seeing it there. It my brain functions. I can't do the touchpad thing. I'm like, where do I hit? There's no button. Where is it? Yeah. So,
definitely.
There you go. So, any other questions I've missed or bypassed or I've talked over the top of?
No, I think you've been doing wonderfully. Okay, well let's take this little moment. Yes, have a drink, and then let's see. Those of you that have maybe, if we've overlooked some questions, I'm sure that I have. I tried to throw them in when it made sense. But if you do have specific questions, throw it into the chat. We would love to be able to have Ceri answer that. And, he has no problem answering.
She's just told me I was overly talkative. Have you noticed that?
No,
wait, is this the eye roll P? Is this the eye
No,
roll?
I've been totally, I've been
Hey,
totally engaged.
she's actually, yeah, other than she didn't get dressed up today, I would have turned the camera on her. She's been, quite involved.
Really have. I've been very interested in everything, and I relate to so much of what you say.
And I think part of
Thank
that
you.
is just being able, like, having a conversation in this way is also tricky. People don't necessarily probably understand that, each one of these interviews, I know, like, number one, it gets a little intimidating sometimes, but just hoping that the technology works and that we don't all seem
That's
like
my
we're
biggest
doing,
fear. Yeah.
yeah, that we're sitting here kind of going, sorry guys, 1 second, that there's always that little bit of fear, but yeah. Does Ceri still do a lot of cake decorating?
Um, I've closed down my storage unit at the beginning of the year and gifted 99% of all my stuff to students or other tutors that I know would benefit from them. I've had more than my use of them. However, I have kept a core items, which means I still can decorate should I choose to.
Okay.
Because even though I'm no longer 100% part of that world, I still do get questions and comments to me because, without sounding too big-headed, I'm an internationally recognized expert in my field. I mean, I'm a Hall of Fame member, inductee for cake decoration, design, and confectionery. People still come to me for knowledge, if nothing else. I'm more than happy to do it. If I was asked to create, say, a showpiece for a show, which is what I ended up doing a lot of in the past, or a corporate wanted something for a photo shoot, yes, I would consider still doing it, because I know the pressure of doing it all the time is now gone. Cake decoration was a huge part of my life, and I don't want to fully shut the door on it. It's just the pandemic wiped that side of my business out.
Yeah.
I once again modified my life and moved forward. And now, instead of being on a plane every single month, going to another country and lecturing and dealing with jet lag and where do I buy laundry and stuff like that, now I work basically from my studio in my own home. And there's so much nice to be able to get up in the morning, make a cup of coffee, even come in here in my robe and go, I just need to put paint down. Or I just need to do something.
Rena wants to know if you are a full-time artist.
No, I'm not, but I potentially could be. I'm a YouTube influencer.
Keep buying
obviously.
those stencils, y'all.
It could happen. I'm a YouTube influencer, although I didn't realize that's what I was becoming.
Yeah.
I was just a guy with the channel. I didn't realize the power that you can potentially wield as a creative person on YouTube. I'm trying to embrace that. I like the fact it gives me an avenue to help, to share, to promote, to spotlight people. So there's that avenue. As I said, I've got 5 books out there, which are all cake decorating related. So I have an income stream of royalties from those. I have Etsy, so there's an income stream from there. YouTube, we're in business. I have an income stream from YouTube as well. I also have a commission and royalty coming from PM Artist Studio. So, as my mother would always say, many a drip makes an ocean. And it is all these little feeds that keep me afloat. And when the pandemic basically wiped me out, and my sister, who runs a dog boarding business from home, was also wiped out. So the two of us had no income. I went out immediately when I read the writing on the wall, and I managed to get myself a part-time job in a grocery store. So 2 nights a week, Saturday night, Sunday night, which is why these bags are under these eyes, I worked through the night unloading trucks, putting product on.
We'll just have to wait for Ceri to come back in.
We lost him.
Yeah, it's a feed thing. I'm not.
But are we going to be able to hear what he said?
Well, yeah, when he gets back in here.
Because
I know.
I'm learning things that I did not know.
Well, as soon as he gets back in here, we'll
Is it just
well, and hopefully he'll realize that because he's probably
that he's a black?
yeah. Well, I
Black
think
square owner.
it'll yeah, because he probably isn't getting our feed as well because it drops.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, somebody didn't put coins in the TV. We might need to go to a larger denomination there.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mo said they're having storms, so it could be due to the weather.
It could be. That is a huge possibility, for sure. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Oh, and Trish,
There we
I see
go.
that, and I know that.
Well, I think that's just darned rude.
I do too.
That's just so rude.
Are you having storms
mind,
there?
it's
Mo
fine.
was saying that you guys are having storms.
We don't have anything here in Cardiff anyway. So anyway, as I was saying, so I worked through the night stacking food on shelves in the supermarket. I could potentially jack that in because it is a very physical job and I do worry about my hands. However, I've got used to the fact that the income that gives covers the entire household bills for both of us every month.
Yeah.
And it's a safety blanket. I don't ever want to go back to the situation we were in when pandemic closed the world down, of worrying, are the bills going to be paid? I am very much looking for another job that is not as physical. But currently, art is not my only income, although I would love it to be. The only trouble with making art your full-time job is the pressure and expectation of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Because currently, it's a stream of income.
Yeah.
The moment it becomes your only income, there's a pressure to push through when maybe it's not the right thing to push through. It becomes a monster that needs to be fed continually. And this is what happened with my cake decorating. I had it as a small-time business. Then it became the elephant in the room that controlled my home life.
Yeah, this is kind of like when we were talking with Rhonda, and she said that, when her quilt making business, it was a job. It wasn't. It was really hard being creative and that fulfilling you in the way that you want it. You kind of dream that it does. And it's funny, like if you look back when we first started YouTubing, it was this whole idea that that it was going, like my goal for sure was that this would become something that could take over like what we do with our Liquid Fly designs, which the website building and all of that. But it's hard to shake some of that because it's good steady income, which also has fed how we are able to do some of this. But there's only so many hours in the day, and then you just the amount of time and energy you have to put into something gets tricky. Cause
it's also you were in a tricky situation, and I kind of am too. But I'm lucky in that I'm okay with it. In that having your business in your home means you never leave work.
It's true.
And I mean, and I hear if I'm not sleeping, I'll just get up and come into the studio at 2 a.m. and be working on something. Now my sister sleeps like they're dead, so I'm never going to wake her up. Do you know what I mean? But it's a case of I have flipped that slightly in that if I've worked, say, 2 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning, during the day, if I'm tired, I'm like, I'm going to take a nap. And I'm not ashamed of the fact that I go and lie down for an hour, or I go and lie in my bed and read a book. It's important to balance.
I miss the days when I was the only one working from home because I used to do those sorts of things. But then when everybody started living here and everybody's working from home.
And she had a baby.
And I had a baby. Sleeping was not as much of an option just midday.
Actually, that's something we need to talk about. And I don't know whether you've avoided the subject because it's you.
Okay.
Or whether it's just something we take for granted. My journey with PM Artist Studio and how I discovered you and why I decided to license my name to you, because I have licensed my name to a couple of companies in my life. One I got completely ripped off at, and we won't go down there. There was legal action taken by other people they ripped off, so that was dealt with. The last company I designed for, KT2 designed, fabulous relationship, not a problem. I'm the one who ended the contract because it naturally came to the point of, wait, guys, that we've done it. We've achieved it, so that there's no problem there. So I first discovered PM Artist Studio through Froyle. I happened to be following Froyle. Froyle used a stencil or something and mentioned PM Artist Studio, which I'd never heard of. And I was surprised because the stencil was white. Now, in the cake world, all stencils are usually clear or pink, and they're plastic, and they drive me nuts because half the time I can't find the darn thing, and they're too flimsy. They're flimsy because they need to be curved around a cake surface without marking the surface, and yet I was frustrated with them. And I saw these stencils in white. I went, I don't know what that is. So I then did some research, found out who you were, found out what Yupo was, looked up Yupo, never heard of Yupo. So that was that. And then I discovered that you were doing live. So I snuck into the back pews and didn't say anything and watched a couple of lives just to test the water to find out where you were at. And then I think we kind of conversed a little bit via Messenger. I had a couple of questions you answered.
Yeah, you reached out. You just said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I've watched a couple of your video or been to a couple of streams or something like that. Saw you with Froyle and just, I'm very impressed. You know, you were really sweet. And I was like, who does that? Who reaches out and just is all sweet?
I do.
That?
I like to lead my life. I like to lead my life by example. I'm a great believer in do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm quite happy about. I like to give credit where it's due. I like to praise someone where it's I feel needed. We do not culturally. I find the world is very eager to point out your failings and your ugly spots, but very rarely do they pat you on the back or say, "Do you know you look absolutely wonderful in that color?" I mean, why?
Yeah.
Why do we not do that? And especially in this country, God forbid I should compliment another man about something. Seriously, if I say, "Oh, your hair looks good," I'm probably on the floor with a broken nose. Do you know what I mean? It's that whole structural thing. So anyway, then at that point, I think you were only designing your own stencils. And there was rumor that Fran was going to be doing something, because I think Fran on the Edge was one of the
She's our very first because I just, you know, it was one of those things. I had a feeling because there were quite a few people like in the group and just around that I knew were making things, but you know, we were still so new at what we were doing, let alone say, hey, you know, come on over. We know what we're doing, you know, let's sell your stuff. We're barely figuring it out on our own. So Fran was really sweet and was like, yes, please do, because she was trying to kind of figure it out on her own, but I think it was very stressful. And she was like, that would be great. So I was like, Fran seems easy to work with at this point. Like, and she's not going to like be too demanding on like what we do. And that's good because the fewer factors there. And then I think once we got the ball rolling with her and I said, you know, hey, to you, because I was like, at any point in time, because you had, you know, I now started knowing more about you. And felt like, hey, and I knew that you had this good audience and that it could be something. I wanted to at least, you know, drop the little hint that, hey, we're available.
Well, no, and the thing is, I'm never shy or offended by people tapping into other people's reach. If there's one thing I have noticed over the last few years is whenever I'm consulted or contacted to consult, I've been asked to consult a few shows for historical cake things and things like that, and asked to be part of stuff. And it's funny that whereas they used to ask you to send a resume or a CV in, one of the first questions now is, what's your social media reach?
Yeah.
And that was completely alien to me. I went, what? And now I understand the power of that.
Yeah.
But unbeknownst to you, when you drop that hint, something you didn't know about is I've always loved stencils, and I've hand cut some of my own stencils because God knows I couldn't afford a machine back then. And then I got to the point in my life where I went, I want to make stencils. It's something I can do at home. I can ship them out. I can sell them. So I bought myself something called a cameo silhouette. which is a cutting machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned the technology and I did it. And it took so long to cut a single stencil. And I would struggle because I didn't understand technology. I'd have to make 10 stencils before I got one good one. And it became very apparent that I'm never going to be able to make them and sell them, which was my end goal. I thought, I've got a nice little business, I can make my own and sell them. So what I did was I fine-tuned the designs I had. I cut one of each, at which point I must have abused my machine enough that it started dying on me. And I went, I'm not investing a few more £100 on another machine.
Yeah.
Got rid of the machine, held on to those 10, knowing that they were actually mine and mine alone and no one else had done them. But I still wanted to create stencils. And I'm very much a believer in that. The universe puts things in the way at the right time if you're only aware enough to listen to them. And I think the connection with PM Artist Studio and you yourself happened to be one of those opportunities. And I went, yeah, I have a good feeling about this company. I like the fact you're a small company. You're very much family oriented. Your priorities aligned with mine. You're not like, yeah, we'll name it. KTC Designs, who I designed for. When I was demonstrating on TV or demonstrating at an event, I had to have sign off on the things that I used in case it was a brand that they didn't want promoted.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you have gone, as long as you're making great art, we don't give a hoot and a holler. If you're using some of our stuff, fabulous. It's all about the creativity and the community. And I am part of Makers Mixed Media Art and Artist Group, and you have no idea how hard that's been to learn to say that. I can tell you, even I stumble occasionally on that one.
I know. But all the easy peasy things, and I wanted to get it all in there because I wanted the search term. See, this is the hard part of like the social media thing where it's like, okay,
tell me about
once you pick something, and then you're like, oh, well, nobody's gonna know that. So like, I wanted it generic enough that it was searchable for just regular people looking for mixed media groups, artists, and art.
Yeah.
So that's what made sense.
So I joined Makers, abbreviation for, and it was such a welcoming community of people that weren't bitches, to be honest with you. Let's call the line there. And it was so nice to go, you know what? I don't have to fit a category. I don't have to be someone who does journals. I don't have to be someone who paints on glass. I can be anybody. And the amount of inspiration and knowledge that is just gleaned from reading comments. And it was a safe place for myself and others to expose their art, because art is basically a precious part of your soul. And when you hold it up to a camera or the rest of the world,
yes,
it can sometimes be a very harmful and hurtful reaction. And I have seen YouTube channels and creators stop what they're doing because they can't deal with it. They've been broken by these comments. It's funny because I think next month I've got a copy of Ceri coming out about that very thing. And those people absolutely drive me insane. If you haven't got the guts to tell it to my face, don't tell me. And if you can't show me a video where you have done it better on your channel that's better than mine, step back. If you don't like what I do, move on.
Yeah.
Really. Why would you sit down and watch an hour-long video just to come back at me and complain about it? If you didn't like it, stop. There are millions of channels. Find one that suits your criteria.
Although thanks for the watch time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never rude to people. I mean, I will even answer bad comments unless I consider it racist, sexist, homophobic, violent, and then I immediately report you and block you. But I will even answer in a political version, even the nasty comments, because they need to be dealt with. If you allow someone to keep being a hater, they will always be a hater. I've got a bit of a stiff carapace on me. I can take a few knocks and blows, and I'm willing to give as good as I take. However, there are people out there who are not as tough and wizened as I am. And I've seen, I mean, there's one journal channel, one creator, this lady, I can't remember her name. Anyway, she publicly announced last week she's turning comments off on all of her videos.
Oh,
She
is this
says
the paper,
her channel was
paper
still.
lady?
Posh paper.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. I was struggling
Yeah.
with it. And she's turned them off. She said, I'm done with the haters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so sad that you are isolating yourself from those who are basically your family because of one or two people in the thousands of good people. And
I
it
think she
just
only did
really
it on that
annoys
one
me.
video.
Oh, okay. So I misread. I thought she was
Yeah,
stopping
I
it on
think she
all of
only
them.
did it on the one video, and yeah, but I always appreciate her, you know, her approach to that whole thing, because really it is about her just, you know, letting people know that she doesn't appreciate them being rude, and basically, like, you know, why would you walk into somebody's house and act like that?
Yeah.
Because that's really
Would
a
you
lot
talk
of,
to your
like,
child? Would you talk to your
Yeah.
parents like that? It's like
yeah,
that whole anonymity, and I probably said that wrong, that has empowered the keyboard warrior is one of the downsides of social media.
Yeah.
Absolutely the downside. So
we
anyway,
yeah, we haven't had a lot of that.
no, and I don't have a huge amount of it,
Mhm.
which I personally, I think it's because I've always tried to be genuinely me and open and honest about stuff. So I haven't given them fuel to be nasty. I
Yeah.
have had one that I've just shaken my head and gone, what? Like a comment like, you're too wordy. Can you just get on with it? I'm like, well, no, that's actually how I work. You don't like it, move on. Or I think I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this once before. I did a video in December where I was literally showing people how to recycle greetings cards into tags. It's an old skill. We've done it in the family for years, and so yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and we do that. I mean, I went, you know what? There's probably someone out who maybe doesn't know about this. So someone came back at me and went, that was boring and banal. Why did you even spend the time doing it? And I'm like, really? Thank you for that. Move on. So they feel that they actually have to dig the knife in, and I'm like, you know, just back off. It's just, I can handle it. I can't say it doesn't sting sometimes, and it does make me look at what I'm doing, and I'm like, okay, sometimes I get the comment of, Ceri, you haven't held it up to the camera. I don't take that as a dig. That's actually a constructive criticism.
Yes.
And it's only within the last month that I've actually found, and I know you're going to laugh, Mariah, give me space.
Okay.
I didn't realize that if I split my video, I can then crop the image and zoom in editing. I didn't know you could do that. So I can zoom in for that section, whereas I think everyone's got touchscreen technology and can do the pinch and zoom in. But then I went, oh, maybe you can't do that on everything. So I've just learned that one. So yeah, and holding something up to their technology, as you call it, I sometimes forget to do it, but I always do it at the end anyway.
Yeah.
But I know some people want to see it as it's going along, and I get so involved in the process that I very often forget it is a video, because I work looking through my video. It's if this is my work surface, this is my iPad, and this is me. Yeah. So trying to do the hand coordination when you're looking through a screen is not the easiest sometimes. But I think it's because I'm watching my own hands create, but subconsciously I'm watching a video of someone else's hands create. It's a weird, don't even try to put your brain around it. It really messes with you. But I get lost in the watching, but I'm doing it at the same time. And then I forget, actually, I'm filming this, which is sometimes I've had to cut words out or drop the volume down on certain things because I've messed up and
sugar biscuits.
Thank you. That I usually say fudge, but there you go. But yeah, I mean, it's hard because you are so passionate about your creativity, and I can absolutely adore P for being P, because P gets so involved and passionate about what she's doing. I fully believe she's right. God damn the rest of the world, I'm creating art. Move over.
Yeah.
And
listen to the chatty one over there.
and you do, when you're in that zone, the true you comes out. Yes. Because you are so focused in soul creativity. It's fabulous to watch. Absolutely fabulous. Oh, and before I forget, guys, I did it. The swap and make.
Yes.
That's for him.
It's going to be launched. There's 4 videos in the series. It's about, in total, about 3.5 hours long. But you know what? I could have gone longer, but I couldn't have gone shorter. So yeah, so it's there. And
Mine still needs
if
work.
if Darcy's in the stream, Darcy, I explained this, okay? Don't be offended. Don't be upset.
It's a teaser.
You'll be
there.
okay. Yeah, it's a
And
teaser.
look, Ceri,
So
this is what now it's backwards because my camera's flipped.
no,
but
I
this
can
is-
read it. It says love. It's the right way around.
So we'll send that to you because this is what he's been
It
doing
also has-
while
Kindness.
we're talking. Oh, it
Thank
does
you.
have-
Well, I will. Oh, that's beautiful. I will put that in my journal if you do not mind. That's beautiful. Thank you so
sign-
much.
Smile, kindness, and love. Aww.
Or I might just frame it and put it on my wall. You never know. I'm trying to put more art around me because
We're trying to figure out new wall space.
I don't think there's anything wrong with refreshing.
No.
Just because you refresh doesn't mean the old art gets disbanded. It just gets wrapped in the cloth and put somewhere till the next time around.
I was
Yeah.
digging some of that out of the closet. And then Brad goes,
So-
do you think maybe, he's like, you know, there are a lot of pictures of you. I'm like, well, I paid for some of them pictures, so of course. Well, actually, my parents paid for them because, like you, I did model there for a little bit. It was more of us just paying for me to go to the place and pay for pictures, but that's really what that was. So there was
Keeping
not
her
any, you
out
know,
of jail.
and keeping me out of jail, I guess. Gave me something to do on a Saturday. But so we had some of those pictures and stuff, but I had taken some of those down when P moved in because some of her art and, you know, some of that stuff. And I was like, we need to add more Izzy stuff. And she wants us to frame more of her things over there in her bedroom. So, you know.
And
it
that
does.
actually, I was listening to you. What day is it today? It's Monday. So I was listening to you yesterday, and you were talking about this, and I thought it was wonderful that Izzy is proud enough of her art that she wants it on the walls.
Yes.
I thought that's a great compliment to her and in her confidence that she's growing as a creative person. God knows she's never going to have a chance, is she? You guys are immersing her in creativity. She's going down that path. Izzy is going to be
I hope so.
us when she grows up.
Yes.
But I think it's absolutely lovely that she's proud enough of what she creates to want it on the wall.
yeah.
And her understanding that you are also proud enough of her to put it up on the wall.
Oh. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Lost voice.
yeah, he'll come back. It's a long way across the pond with this signal.
It is. And
Mhm.
I think the wind blows it.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, the wind's blowing those antenna, and Ceri didn't put the aluminum foil
No, don't
on his
worry.
thing.
He ran out of pennies.
I was wearing it on my head earlier on.
I'm blaming it on him. I don't know.
So-
It could
so
be
yes,
us.
I don't mind. So I love the fact that you are nurturing and accepting of Izzy's art.
Yeah. Oh,
And I love the way that P appears to have stepped back from teacher mode, but is guiding still the same.
sometimes I don't know. It gets pretty heated up here because Izzy feels like she's got ideas about things that which also is something that, you know, once you give a kid this ability to like very much express who they are and how they believe things should be, that a lot of times comes back and bites you in the butt. And
You wait till the teenage
conversations
years.
up here where, no, Gigi, that is not how I want it.
You wait till puberty hits, I
yeah,
tell you.
I'm like, it's,
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little scary sometimes. But and then Brad even said yesterday, he goes, "The children upstairs are fighting."
We do fuss at each other.
They do like kids. I mean, I'm like, I'm not getting involved.
But that's healthy. It's not being bottled up.
yeah,
It's being expressed. Yeah. Unless it gets violent and then there are issues.
no, she's it's pretty just, you know. Why aren't you listening to me?
Wash your brush out.
Wash your brush.
So So moving forward, currently there's a heck of a lot on my plate. I didn't make this publicly known. I'll tell you now because it's over and dealt with.
Okay.
In February, I had an accident at work and I mashed up my leg. I wasn't able to walk for 2 weeks.
Oh,
I
goodness.
wasn't very much able to stand. I ended up in hospital with it. I managed to keep the videos going because I did it on this chair. And how you sit down and do a video, I don't know. I've always stood. So what it did is it knocked a lot of my larger projects back.
Yeah.
So you're going to start getting quite a few bigger projects off me now. As I said, there's a journal make, which is probably going to be a 2-video journal coming up. In June, I believe it is, Paula Keane and I are going to do another swap and make, but we're going to try and do all of the Makers challenges in one go. So I don't know, so Quin Vector or Sec Vector or Six Vector, whatever it is. We are attempting to do the whole lot. So watch out for that. That we think that's going to be June. A bit of a sliding scale, but we think it's going to be June. I'm not going to go too much into it, but Big Bad Ball Bob is going to get a hat this month, maybe next month.
Oh.
So that's going to be another project that I've wanted to make for years. And I'm like, right, now is the time. All the supplies are here. I was supposed to do it in February or March, but then the accident happened and I couldn't stand that long. So that's going to be coming up. And also, I do listen to my subscribers and the requests for things. And I'm hoping in July, it's 2 exciting things happen in July. I'm hoping in July to be able to inform you of something else that's going to be something hopefully you'll enjoy. And then I am doing a big collaboration, which I'm generating in July, which I'm not going to mention here because I'm going to announce it probably about the 3rd week of June. Okay. However, all I can say is start collecting any scraps that you have for your gel prints. If you are doing a swap with someone or you're sending Happy Mail to someone, include a few gel prints in there. If you're a gel press person, because it means that they'll have something to start with. Although we have a get out of jail free card for that one as well. You don't necessarily have to have a gel press or gel plate to do it. So I'm excited about that. So that's another challenge that's going to come everybody's way. It's going to be a challenge more for me than anyone else. So yes,
I've been thinking about it and getting a little bit stressed, but I'm not going to get stressed. I'm going to get motivated.
Well, Gail Augustinelli really depressed me this morning. She sent me an email and going, I've already done 15 of them. I went, what? I'm still at the planning stage. So yes, and yes, there are a few people already in the know because I needed to make sure that
it's a good launch.
I wanted it to be a good launch, and also if it works, which I think it's going to work, I have faith it's going to work. I'd like it to become an annual thing, and to get the ball rolling and to get the extent of the reach of it out there. Now, it could be I may decide to announce it a little bit earlier, but I think if I give you 2 weeks before July, that's enough time to prep and swap and purchase or do what you need to do if you want to be involved. So I'm sorry, I know that's a bit of a nasty teaser because you're all going, what the hell is he talking about? You'll find out. Yeah, you will find out, I promise you. It's a fun thing. I really do think it's a fun thing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Margie wants to know if you would watch somebody's video and then give them advice. Is that something you'd be into?
I do. I already do that.
Yeah.
The only thing I always say is...
You know what you and I should do, Ceri? We should start like a little side thing and then we could, have all the arty crafty, video people come to us and you know how those content creators do, but like, we're more focused in on like the arty community.
It's possible. We could, like a film critic, be a video critic.
Yeah.
So in a positive way, though, constructive only. Yes, I do. People do reach out to me and ask me for advice on the videos. A few channels that have just started up have also asked me for advice. I am more than willing to give it, knowing that I have no knowledge, technology, or anything. The only advice I can give is what I have been through myself. And also, for goodness sake, give me time to get to it, because the amount of comments I get per day is mind blowing. I'm constantly playing catch up on answering comments. So throwing another thing into the stream can sometimes be a bit overwhelming, but I do get back to you. And if you want the best way to get a hold of me, go to my webpage and go through my contact
Oh, there you go. That's
thing, and then it ends up as an email in my inbox. Whereas if you do it on Messenger, I don't always get to Messenger. I see there's a notification, but half the time I don't notice it. Whereas I'm more likely to get back to you or go, oh, it's a genuine thing in my inbox. Also, if you're just going to send me a link to a video, could you possibly mention on Facebook Messenger or some other way, Ceri, I've sent you a link so I know it's not spam? Because anyone just sends me a link in my Messenger, I delete it immediately because I assume it's spam. And I don't mean to offend, but I'm not dealing with spam. So
yes, exactly.
I think we should be winding up. This 45 minutes has turned into an hour and whatever.
Yeah, well, you're in it for the full 2 hours. This point, Ceri.
Here, Paula says, I'm so nosy, Ceri.
Yeah.
What and how often do you cook? Do you still bake? I want to know that.
I do too. What do you eat?
What do you eat?
What do I eat? What do I eat? Okay, I have always been the cook in the house. From the age of 10 years old, which makes my sister 6 years old, we were a one-parent family. My mother was a full-time nurse and held down another job cleaning other people's houses to keep us afloat, which meant there wasn't really anyone to bring me and my sister up. So what happened was I pretty much was responsible for making sure my sister was safe and back and forth to wherever she's going and to keep her occupied until mum got home. Because of the workload mum was under, she would do shopping because, of course, she was earning the money and budgeting for everything, and I learned to cook. So from about 10 years old, I was the person who cooked, which is why probably I naturally became a chef and a cook and a baker. So kitchen was my safe zone. Now that my mother passed about 5 years ago now, when mum passed, I decided that my sister and I still live together because we own the house. Why would we live separately? We own the house. We've paid our mortgage off. Why go somewhere else?
Yeah.
So when mum passed and we dealt with all of the paperwork and everything, I sat my sister down and I went, I am no longer going to be shopping for you, and I'm no longer going to be cooking for you. Do you know what I mean? You were over 50 years old. Aww. I know you can cook. I said, I like to eat food very different to the way you eat food. I think we should deal with our own budgets. And she was up for it, completely up with it. So at that point, we shop independently because I do eat differently than my sister is. Also, I'm a little more adventurous because I've traveled so much. I will sometimes cook spicy stuff. I will eat stuff my sister goes, ooh, really? What's that? And I have eaten some extraordinary things in my travels, like that I go, you eat these? I've never eaten a bug. I absolutely refuse. I'm not going to eat a bug. I don't care how you cook it and disguise it. I'm not eating a bug. But because we're now two single people, I tend to use my freezer a lot. So I will probably 1 day, 2 days a month, I will actually cook for the entire day. So I will pretty much make things that are almost like a TV dinner for me. Like I will make a big lasagna, section it up into 6 portions and freeze them. I love making soup. So I will make a gallon of soup, portion it up and freeze it. I will do roast vegetables and freeze it. I will do pasta bakes and freeze. So what that enables me to do is, because I'm constantly working, I grab lunch, but I'm grabbing a healthy lunch instead of going, oh, there are 8 chocolate biscuits in the cupboard and I'll have 2 slices of toast. Because that's not what I want to do. And all of the years of me traveling internationally, what happened was I would live on hotel food. I would live on restaurant food because I was being taken out. I would be grabbing sandwiches at service stations. So it was tricky. My iPad has just said I'm at 5%. And I can't plug you in because I'm not near enough to a socket. So to be honest with you, I think I might get cut off shortly.
Okay, no worries. Why don't we just? I mean, it's 10 minutes. We can call it at that. And that was the
I think we can
awesome.
call it, God knows. But Paula, or Paula, I love food. I do err on the side of slightly spicy. I do like a good curry. I like a nice salsa. I like Mexican. I like Italian. I like
I have one more
fresh
question for you.
vegetables.
I have one question. I'm
Go
going to
for it.
cut you off there just for a second because I do want to know about
No.
this. If and or when you do plan a visit to the States next time,
Yeah.
what is your interest level in coming to the Dallas-Fort Worth area? You can come stay with us.
If I'm in the States, it's just an internal flight. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I quite often hop on and off planes as people would hop on and off a bus. It depends on what my time constraints are. Like I usually am in the States once a year. Every single time I come to the States, I usually end up in Chicago because that's where I used to live. That's where my friends are. However, it's only an internal flight. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't bother me. I would love to meet some of the people that, like, I know from the. I mean, I have done meet and greets.
And on that thought process, and I know you had mentioned it because Creativation just happened just not too long ago. I think it was just 2 weeks.
It's in Seattle next year.
Is it? Oh,
it's in Seattle next year. I would love. I've been planning to go for years.
I was looking
to
see when they were going to announce where it was. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's Seattle. I can't remember the dates. It's usually around Easter time. February, March time. But yeah, Seattle. I love Seattle. I absolutely adore Seattle.
It's one of our favorite places. Ever.
And I'm meeting up with friends in May. My friends from America are coming over here. I'm going to be chatting with them, and we're planning next year. What takes so basically I'm already in planning mode for next year.
Okay.
And if a side trip to Seattle was involved, it would not bother me in the slightest. I love Seattle. So
that's good to know.
But knowing that Creativation is an expensive experience.
Yes.
But I think a worthwhile one. And apparently, because I've got friends who went this year, it's growing back to what it used to be. Not it's because it got really dinked. Yeah.
I was kind of like,
all right,
I want to go when we could really. I mean, I would think
benefit.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that most of the companies that because that's really I would love. I don't think Gel Press went this last year. I didn't see them on the list unless they.
Tim Holtz didn't go.
Oh, well.
Diane Reevely didn't go.
Okay.
So I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know there's that. Listen, I'm down to 4%. I really do need to go because I'd hate to just go, I'm gone, people. Carry us left the building.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we're just going to call it from here. Yes, it was awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Ceri.
Totally
Thank you guys for joining. I have no idea what the chat volume was, but just turning up was fabulous. Thank you.
It was awesome.
You never know. We might do this again next year, just for an update video or something, or we can choose a topic to discuss maybe.
Oh, that would be fun.
And maybe P and I can discuss art or something, or we can do something like that. Something different.
Museum.
Oh, I bloody love that.
Digital.
Because she wants to really up the technology game here. Okay.
Okay. Well, next I'm hoping in June I'm going to go to the V&A in London. I've told my friends up there I'm going to come for a visit. I want to go to the Victoria and Albert Museum. I've not been there, maybe go to the Tate. So I'm going to try and take you guys with me as far as video footage goes. But I'm going to try. I don't know. It's almost a promise, but not yet.
Okay.
So guys,
I would love it.
Bless you. Thank you so
Ceri.
much. It's been wonderful. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back here tomorrow for some Tweaky Tuesday. So show up. She's got things she's working on.
Things.
She's got ideas. She's got plans. Bye.
She does.
Bye.